Well, I know your children are still very young. Look, I mean, have they come across any problems? You know, as they've grown older, have they come across any problems? And you know, how do you sort of help them through?
My eldest has had little bits of bullying at school, which is not uncommon, and you can imagine little girls, you know, they're frightening sometimes. That's been an interesting one. You know, you don't know how bad it is, you know, because you often hear one side of the story, and but you know that was difficult. There was an incident recently. I won't get too deeply into it, but I don't know if I handled it as well as I could. I think my missus again probably handled it, you know, like an adult. I remember there was one occasion where at a football game that my kid was playing, and one of the girls was there, and I was being the adult kicking the ball around, and I actually I kicked the ball right into this kid, and again probably shouldn't be committing that to film, but I got a lot of joy out of it. But you know, I'm well aware that a 48-year-old bloke, you know, kicking a ball into an 8-year-old or 9-year-old kid probably wasn't the most mature way to handle it. And it's the first time I've ever acknowledged that, so I'm pretty dumb committing it to film, aren't I? But no names, no locations, no dates. But yeah, but that also breaks your heart. You know, you also, you know, I think everyone at some stage experiences a degree of bullying. You know, I did when I was at school. I remember just taking a swipe and clocking my mate, the bully in my life, and he became one of my best mates for the next 10 years. So, again, that's not something, you know, that's 70s schoolyard behaviour, but yeah, but that just breaks your heart. That's the only problem. With, you know, touch wood, you know, their health's been good. You know, they're bright. They don't have any learning disabilities or difficulties. So, you know, again, I feel very blessed.
My daughter, there's been a little bit of bullying as well, and it's hard. It's difficult to take because it's, you know, if you do feel like, you know, it's how do you talk about it? How do you tell them to deal with it when you feel like, when your initial response is, I want to smash that person.
I want to smash the
I want to
parents.
smash them.
I want to
I want to have a chat with the parents. How could they possibly be letting their child carry on like, you know?
Yeah, and then you don't want to be one of those parents either that just at the slightest problem, I've got to wrap my kid in cotton wool, and you know, got to have security guards around her and all that, you know, because you want them to fend for themselves. Like here's a great learning for you. It's tough out there, so you don't want them to be powder puffs, you know. You don't want them to lose their innocence, but they've got to learn to fend for themselves, and I don't think you have to jump at every time you think your kid's being bullied. Now, I still think in some degrees this was just little girls sorting themselves out, you know.
Girls are tough.
The girls are tough, and who's to say that the kid that was doing a lot of this didn't have her own pile of shit at home, you know. The one thing I always say to my girls, if this stuff comes up, is you just got to make sure you don't do it to anyone, you know. It's one thing to cop it, but you don't return serve. You know, you don't, just because she's done that to you, that you do that to that person there. That's just not on.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you know, I don't ever hear my kids saying bad things about people. If anything, they just don't understand why someone could be nasty to them or why someone doesn't like them. And even then, you got to try and teach them, well, not everyone likes everyone, you know.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay not to be. Although I'm a very needy liberal, I've been told. So I don't. I've actually got to the point there where I don't care if people like me or not. But there was a long time where I had to be the most liked person in the room. Now I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't need any more friends.
A lot less energy.
Yeah.